All right, friends, welcome to our meditation time. I just invite you just to settle. Whatever activity you've been engaged in across these minutes leading up to this one, just see if you can separate from it just a little bit. Even if it was good activity, even if it was things that you enjoy being engaged with, just allow yourself to really arrive into this moment. Let the body settle. Allow the gaze to soften or the eyes to close. And allow your breath to become steady, where you're actually following the breath in and following the breath out. And just watching that beautiful ebb and flow in and out. And in and out. And then notice what's going on within all the different parts of you. What's going on in your body, what's going on in your energy, definitely what's going on in your mind. Just get a sense of how things are in this moment as you have arrived. We don't have to get everything peaceful and calm and still to come to meditation, but we do need to be aware of how it is that we have come. What things might try to create a distraction that we need to be aware of. What parts of us are ready for stillness and quiet? What parts are we curious about, we wonder about? So it really is a great practice to just check in, scan, know how you feel in this moment. We've been sitting together for these last few times that we've met in these Yoga Sutra verses from chapter 3, this chapter on the impact and the accomplishments of the practice. And there's a small little group of verses that he's written around verse 9 up to about verse 15, where he basically tells us, you've done the work. You've done the work. You're trying to live this very principled way of living, of being in tune with the rhythms of nature, being in tune with yourself, being mindful of how you move through the world, how you breathe, how you speak, and how you act. And he says, all of these things are so good. They're good for your body. They're good for your mind. They're good for your nervous system. But then he goes on to say, let me show you just a few more ways of prolonging the sense of stillness that you're beginning to experience. Let me show you how to lengthen that space between those busy thoughts of yours. And that's where we've landed these last few times together. And so today's inspiration is about prolonging the stillness. So just think to yourself how amazing that sounds, right? We experience stillness, or we have a moment of peace and quiet in the day, and we wish it could last. We wish it could for sure last longer than it does, but we definitely wish it could last. And what Patanjali tells us in this ancient text is it can last. You just have to practice it. And so he gives us this advice on this verse where we've settled today. And he says, I've told you all along, and I'll tell you again, your breath is the key. Your breath is the key. It's the key to so many things, regulating the emotions, quieting the mind, restoring the rhythm of the body. But it is also the key to prolonging the stillness that you so desire. And so he focuses here on this practice called kumbhaka, breath retention. He teaches us that the inhale is so incredibly important. It's where we find expansion. It's where we find life, where we feel the energy coming into our bodies. And he also tells us, as we know, how important the exhale is. It's that moment in the body when it's smart enough to know what to hold on to and what things to release. And not so much just what to release from us that we don't need, but what to release to continue to maintain this rhythm with nature. We know that as we breathe out, the trees and the flowers breathe in. And the things that our body can't use and doesn't need, those trees and those flowers, those plants, they need it. And he says those are two beautiful things to focus on. But what if we focused also on this idea of kumbhaka, breath retention? What if we could prolong the stillness by using the breath? One of the great writers actually compares this to shavasana, that time at the end of a yoga class that is just yummy and peaceful. And just think, if an instructor on a yoga mat offered you a 1-minute shavasana and another instructor offered you a 10-minute shavasana, what a difference you would feel from one to the other. 1 minute is good. The body gets a little bit of rest. But 10 minutes, the body gets to restore. And he says that your breath, when you learn to retain it in a way that is intentional, it's like shavasana for your heart and for your lungs. And so we're going to practice that together. Not to the point that we become uncomfortable, but we begin to build capacity of this prolonging of holding our breath so that we can prolong the stillness. And so let's just breathe a couple times together, and then we're going to settle into a rhythm of practice here and just see what we notice. So just take a deep breath in and a full breath out. And a deep breath in and a full breath out. Just take a couple more breaths on your own before we get ready to just retain that breath. Just hold it at the top in a second. What I would encourage you to do is be intentional when we do breathe out. Don't rush it. Let the breath out be just as mindful as the breath was coming in, even after you've held it for just a few seconds. So allow yourself to sit up nice and tall, really lengthen through your spine. Let's take a slow, deep breath in, full, expansive inhale, and hold. And gently release. Let it go. And then a full, deep breath in, and hold. And gently release. And a full, deep breath in, and hold. And gently release. Now we're going to try to just prolong it just a bit. A slow breath in. And hold. Gently release. A slow breath in. And hold. Gently release. Let's do that one more time together. A slow breath in. And hold. ever so gently release. And in these next just couple moments of quiet, I invite us each to keep practicing that. Each of us deciding the length of the hold. And as you hold, allow the body to be still, as if you are training yourself to prolong the stillness. We'll start the stillness with that breath, and we'll let it just permeate through the physical body. And maybe you'll start to feel that it actually begins to permeate into your tissues and eventually into your mind. And so just notice, maybe your hold is 2 seconds. That's how we started. Then we lengthened just a bit to 4. And that last couple rounds, we were actually holding for a count of 7. So you find a cadence and just take a few rhythms of breath here on your own, actively prolonging the stillness. Wherever you are in your practice, just take one more round. Deep breath in. Hold the amount that feels right for you. And exhale, let it go. And as you return to just a regular, beautiful cadence of breath, whatever feels natural, check in with yourself again. See how you feel physically, energetically, mentally. Just notice the impact of just those few minutes of intentionally practicing prolonging the stillness. Oftentimes in human nature, we want things so very much. And sometimes we're not quite sure how to get them. And other times we're not sure if we want to do the work to get them. But whenever I start to feel the impact of that breath retention, that kumbhaka, I get emotional. I feel my heart begin to flutter a bit because I think this tool has been with me all along. I didn't have to go somewhere and find it. It's not outside of me. No one would even know that I was doing it by looking at me. I've had this tool all along. And for years, maybe you as well, I've yearned for stillness. I've wanted to feel it. I've wanted to hold on to it. But somewhere along the way, the world convinced me that the noise was natural. And then I come to moments like this and I feel the impact of stillness, of my practicing it on purpose with my breath. And I'm amazed. This is our natural state of being. This stillness within our breath eventually becomes stillness within our spirit. It informs how we act, how we speak, and how we move through the world. And so my wish for each of us is, let's not waste any more time forgetting that the tool we need is right here within us. Access it. Utilize it in a way that someday along this path you start to think, the stillness is what feels natural. I think I'll hang out there more than I will in the noise. So let's just close it out with one deep breath in together. And then just open up your mouth, sigh it out. And as you go through the rest of your day, your evening, whatever the activity looks like, return to this moment. Return to this moment when you really realized the stillness that I want. I have everything within me to find it. Let's not forget. Namaste.